Hi everyone, let's talk about Kanban EV, which I just finished a full solo playthrough for. So hopefully you've watched that first and you've got an idea of what the game is like from that. This is just what I think. For all Kanban really, because I think my original playthrough for Kanban was one of the first on the channel, I think. From definitely the first few months of it anyway, and I didn't used to do these videos then, so let's cover all of Kanban stuff, although I'm sure I've talked about it in top 10s and things. So I said many times, I love Vita Lacerda games. This is still my favourite of his games, I think. This is, I have to check back the exact number, I'm pretty sure this is in my top 5 of all time. Absolutely love this. And there is something about, although not being anything about actual production lines and not really caring about cars at all, the setting and the flow of the production line do really make the game click a bit faster, I think. I do think that maybe Escape Plan and the Gallerist are a little bit easier to learn, but there is something really beautiful to the flow of how everything works in this. Vita Lacerda games often, all of the actions lead into each other and they'll give you bonuses that relate to a different part of the game, and so you need to try and do a little bit of everything, but there's often a million ways for you to get what you want. Maybe not the obvious way of just going to the place and doing it. There are probably other ways that you can go about it if something's in your way, or maybe you can get a great combo and get things done more efficiently, which is what it's all about really. Kanban really makes that shine, and it's got, worker placement is a great system anyway, but again, it's, you can say the Gallerist is worker placement for just having those 4 locations, but it's all of the options you've got once you've gone to the place that really kind of elevate it. And it's got 2 big systems that I don't think really in any other game. Well, first, Sandra is my favourite thing, and one of my favourite things in board games in general. I love the idea, although not kind of story-wise, I don't want to be followed around by a boss, but thematically in this game, just being followed around by Sandra and being judged by Sandra. Now, you can play the game in nice Sandra mode. I didn't do that in the playthrough, because I'm not sure if it still does, but the original rulebook, I think, made it clear that mean Sandra is the real way. You can play it where Sandra is nice and rewards the person who is most certified, and that has been tweaked a little bit in Kanban EV. You could get some crazy points from doing that, but the points have been limited a little bit in this new version. But yeah, Sandra is following you around, and if you aren't certified in these places, if you're the lowest in these certification tracks, she is going to make you lose some points, unless you've done enough in those departments to impress her. And so that brings you so much on top of already trying to think about which departments am I going to go to, where do I need to go first, who else is going to go there, are they going to get the things before I need to get the things? On top of all of that usual lovely stuff, you have the extra thing of Sandra and knowing, okay, she's moving 1 department down. Okay, she's going to logistics now. I'm terrible at logistics. I can't afford to lose all of these points from there. Or what if I go to logistics before Sandra and do some training and make myself look great, and now someone else is going to have to suffer instead? Or you can see that someone's in logistics, Sandra's going to go in there. You can take up the last space and make Sandra completely skip that department. And you can end up, worrying other players that the end of the week's going to come really fast if Sandra keeps skipping all of these departments, and just trying to give her a nudge from the places where you haven't done all of your best work. I think Sandra is amazing, although incredibly mean, but she's meant to be. And then the meetings as well. Again, tied into this kind of theme of having the boss and trying to do well in your workplace, but trying to impress your boss in your workplace as well. That we have these, it used to be chairs in old Kanban, it's speech tokens now, which I do miss those chairs, but it does make a lot more sense that it's speech tokens. It's the number of times you're allowed to speak in this meeting, or the number of times that Sandra is willing to listen to you in a meeting. But yeah, we have these meeting cards, and Sandra will look at a topic like how many parts vouchers have you got, or really, how many parts vouchers have you managed to save up? How efficient are you being? How many cars have you managed to get? How many certifications have you gotten? All of these things that would impress Sandra. And by being the first to speak on this topic, Sandra will listen to you drone on and on and on and let you score a 3 times bonus. But the next person to do it, she's not as impressed. She's already been told about parts vouchers for ages by this other player. So she's not going to listen to you for as long, and she's only going to listen to 3 different people, and then, no, she's not interested in that topic anymore. Tell her about something else. And that plays into as well, trying to get certified for all the bonuses that brings, all the unlocks on your player boards, but also who gets to speak first in meetings. There is the extra element of the cards in your hands. Everyone's got 3 meeting cards in their hands that they have a secret topic that they are going to play. They have to play it before they can back out of the meeting. When are they going to play it? Are they going to wait and they're going to try and wait you out until everyone else hasn't got any speech tokens and then be the only one that can play it because they know that everyone else has done it as well and want to get the most points out of it? It's just a beautiful, beautiful system. And yeah, as well as all of the kind of usual stuff of everything interlocking with everything else in an absolutely beautiful way. Kanban is fantastic. That's one of my favourites, didn't I? So Kanban EV. I mentioned a few little tweaks to the rules. Nice Sandra, the main one that I remember. Very minor things other than that. The big new thing is it's the Deluxified Edition. You can see, if you haven't seen it before, I did a whole video where I'm playing with the original Stronghold edition, and that did get a little update to a driver's edition, but very minor changes between those two things. You can see the original version of Kanban, and I think that it looked fantastic. I had no real complaints other than kind of minor graphic designy ones, fonts and things. If Kanban original is what you have or what you're looking to get, it's fantastic. You are getting 99% rules-wise of the actual functional game there, and Kanban is amazing. So don't let that detract from anything. Kind of similar to what I was saying about Rococo. Original Rococo is beautiful, and it is the game of Rococo. There is more stuff in here, and it has been absolutely lavishly deluxified in the way that all of these Eagle Griffin things have been. They are absolutely beautiful editions. Really thick punch boards for the tiles and things. Lovely printed cars. You can get metal cars. I don't know how much they were in the Kickstarter and stuff, but I've seen like a £70 upgrade. Not like Kanban quite that much, but it's there if you really, really want to go in on it. The whole thing has been redone by Ian O'Toole, again, as with all of the other deluxe editions, and I've said probably for every video that I've made for them, he is an excellent artist, an excellent graphic designer. He manages to capture a theme with the graphics, but also make it beautifully functional as well. It's informing about all this stuff. There's player aid stuff everywhere. Everything is pointing you in the right directions, but it doesn't kind of detract from the art. It all fits in and looks like it's part of the art while still standing out enough to show you that it's player aid stuff. It's absolutely beautiful as well. And I think it speaks for how well a lot of things in the original Kanban were set out, because it's the same thing in some ways. In the layout, it has been turned on its side. Normal Kanban, you went left to right, and now you're going up and down, and the departments are in pretty much the same positions. So, Kanban was doing a lot of things right in its original version, and it can be a little bit. I've played Kanban original quite a few times, and so at first with this new version, it's like trying to train myself to not think of the departments in the wrong places and stuff. But yeah, I think I'm used to it now. It's absolutely beautiful and fantastic. And the solo mode is another new thing. It was pretty much, thanks to all of the other deluxe editions, I think this was the only Vita Lacerda game that didn't have an official solo mode. It did have Dalebot that you can see in my original playthrough. It was made by BGG user Dale Bonacore. Forget that. And so this now has an official solo mode, but it's not designed by Vita Lacerda. It's designed by David Turzi from Anachrony and Tekenyu and Kitchen Rush and all manner of games and all manner of solo modes for games that he didn't design as well, like Snowdonia, you can see on this channel. But yeah, he has done another fantastic job of trying to replicate players that are working against you, something you have to fight for. And Kanban EV Solo is definitely about that kind of fight and that struggle to stay in your job, really. It's taken on the theme really well. And I do think that in my experience, I've played it like 5 times now, solo, or 6 if you count the playthrough, but I wouldn't count that. So I've played it only a few times. You need more times to get used to all of the intricacies of it, I imagine. But I think I have gotten fired in a lot of those times. It reminds me of something that I like in the solo mode of Forge War, which has a thing where you have to take a new quest every time, and if you ever fail to take on a quest, the game is over and it stops. That's a bit more extreme there, because that can be a massively, massively long game, and it can be kind of crushing to end it. But also, even though the rules don't say you can do this, there's nothing stopping you from just going, okay, well, I've lost, but let's carry on with this and let's see how this plays out. I wouldn't necessarily just stop playing just because you've been fired in this. It helps to kind of go through it all and see how the endgame scoring works and get some more experience in meetings and stuff, and how Lacerda and Tutsi work in those meetings and stuff. It seems pretty hard to get in the ranks. That, again, could be inexperience with it, but it's a much more kind of dynamic thing. It's random based on what they do. You have some foreknowledge, like a load of David's solo designs. You have some of this stuff presented to you. You have the 3 options where they can go. If they both get to choose before you, like in a multiplayer game, that's just tough luck. You're just going to have to deal with where they're going. But if you get to pick first, you can see where they might go and where you might need to go into the 2-shift position to make sure you go before them and stuff. But they've also always got surprises where someone gets in their way and they skip to a new department and stuff. It's it's a bit more to learn than something like the Gallerist, but the game itself is more complex anyway. But say the Gallerist has one of the most simple solo variants, aside from a solo variant where it's just something like Agricola's, where it's play the game, but beat your own score, you are playing against yourself, and there's nothing else. There's nothing wrong with that, but I'd like not necessarily to have to play against an AI all the time, but to have some kind of goal, to have some kind of restriction, like another Uwe Rosenberg game, Feast Roden, where you kind of alternate between colours and you're getting in your own way, something like that. So the Gallerist of those kind of solo games is a more simple one, that you just have a Lacerda meeple who's just going to rotate to the next action along and get in your way and leave these assistants behind that give him extra actions and stuff. Very, very, very simple. So this is kind of on the other end of that you do need to bear in mind some flows, some choices, some priorities, but like all of the deluxe editions, it comes with its beautiful player aids to help you out step by step with each of the actions that you can get and what these things are worth, what Sandra's going to do, what endgame scoring and end of week scoring is going to be like. All that's on that main player aid, but then you have the solo player aid that briefly tells you what each person is going to choose. And I think there's a few things that it doesn't outright specify, like their priorities when they're upgrading cars and stuff, but it's straight in the rulebook. Most stuff you need to know from the start is on here, and it's also on the cards as a reminder as well, like when they go to assembly, the directions that they push the cars and stuff, and who's going to do a Kanban order, who's not going to do a Kanban order. It's one where at first you might need to keep referring back to the rulebook for your first couple of games to get the flow down, but once you've done, it's really quick to just, okay, they're going there, and I know what they do at this point. And once that starts to click, you can start to try and see how to get around them. There are some games, and I don't think I'm alone in this, I've seen in BGG threads that there are games where they can just be on an upgrading tear and just score so many points early on that there's a good chance you're going to get fired. You can still, though, in the spirit of the game and getting a true rank, I would keep that rule in there. But as I mentioned, I wouldn't stop playing. I would just keep going and see what rank you can get despite that. The top rank as well, the Musketeer rank, I'm sure it must be possible. David, if you see this, have you done it? Because it seems so hard. Again, it relies a little bit on some luck that the bots don't take certain car designs you might need. It's harder for the one where you need 5 cars of the same colour and then all of the tested designs of that car as well. That's going to be tricky to do. But still, I was going for the other one where get all the different cars and one tested design for each of those. You can kind of get too focused on those goals as well. This is true of the Gallerist. You can be so focused on trying to meet all of these goals for the top tier that you miss something basic like a scoring requirement or something for it. So yeah, just go with the flow. Just do things. Say for not everyone, because Feast of the games aren't going to be for everyone. No game's for everyone, is it? But yeah, if you're giving it a try and it seems daunting or whatever, hey, my playthrough is there to help. And there's Paul Grogan on Gaming Rules did the official how to play and a solo playthrough himself as well to help you out. But I would say for these things, if you are daunted by them, just start doing things. I'd say that for most board games in general. Don't worry too much about what is going to happen with this. Once you start taking actions and seeing the kind of ripples that those actions start making in the other areas, and you start to see what you need and where you can get it from, in my experience, it all starts to click. Generally, anyway. I don't know where I've gone from to end up in this place. I'd say Kanban is one of my favourite games to begin with. The new version makes it even better. You know, the core gameplay is still... It does include some stuff that I haven't mentioned. It includes a speed charger expansion, which is where you can spend tasks to kind of enhance actions permanently. So when you go to a certain department, you can get a design as well in the future once you have spent the time to get the bonus for that particular action. I haven't played that because I've only played it solo so far. I think you could... It doesn't say anywhere that you can't play it in solo. I think it maybe make it a bit easier for you, which maybe I need. And there's also those difficulty cards you can include in the solo mode to make it harder for you as well. But yeah, report back in there. I'll put in a comment when Rach fancies playing it. But hey, teaching's hard, isn't it? We'll get back to big monster board games one day. Kanban's amazing. EV beautifies it even more and gives it a few extras. I would say it's another fantastic addition. But yeah, if you've seen all of my other videos about this, I was not going to not like it, was I? I love all of these things, and yeah, this is... It's the best one still, isn't it? Kanban EV. Watch the playthrough if you haven't already. Hopefully that will give you a better idea of whether or not you would like it. I definitely like it, but that's just me, eh? Thank you very much for watching this, and I'll see you for the next game. Bye, everyone.